Chapter 186. You have to find excuses to deliver your food. She didn't say anything but listened to him. After saying that, he helplessly said, I also know that she might not give up so easily. After all, she has always kept these words of accompanying me through the hardest years of her life hanging on her mouth. For such a person, how could she let her efforts all those years ago go to waste? And if she continues to harass you, what are you going to do? Earl looked at her and smiled calmly. Since I have made such a decision, then I naturally have the resolve to sacrifice everything. The worst outcome would be, I will not work here. I want to see how long she can go for. But you just came back. I gave up a good job abroad because of her. I can give up here too. It's no big deal. If I have to start over, then I'm willing to give up here too. After all, Earl was already an adult, and any decision he made would have to be made on his own accord. The two of them chatted for a long time. Just as they were about to leave, her phone rang. Seeing that it was William Walton, she immediately picked up. William Walton asked, with which friend? Earl, the hotel where he works. I haven't eaten yet, William Walton said in annoyance. Really, I'm full now. Laura, she pursed her lips and smiled. Then why aren't you eating? Someone's pinching your lips? Who's so bold? Should I send someone else to help you get rid of him? Don't be so talkative. I'm hungry. Bring me food. I'll be waiting for you at the company. If you don't come, you're done for tonight. Before she could say anything, William Walton had already hung up. He was really unreasonable. She stuffed the phone into her bag. Earl asked, Is it Mr. Walton? Yes. Looks like you two got along very well. She shrugged. Actually, it's fine. I heard that he was a heartless person, but the rumors seemed to be exaggerated. If he could see how William Walton rejected girls and how he cleaned up his subordinates, he would probably know that what he said was true. But she felt very lucky. At least the William Walton she knew was a good person who was easy to get along with. Humans have two sides. Perhaps to others, this person is very difficult to get along with, but to himself, this person is exactly the same as himself. Earl nodded as he looked at her. Laura, you have really grown up. Otherwise, Earl would feel that I am still that little girl of 10 years old. She laughed and waved her hand. The waiter came over and wanted to get a menu so she could order food for William Walton. Take away, by the way. Add a bit more chili peppers. Just give me as much spiciness as you want. The waiter left, she pouting. William Walton, you deserve that. Earl, after I order my dishes, I have to leave first. I have an appointment with William Walton. We will meet later. Okay, then I'll walk you downstairs. By the way, regarding the matter between you and Sister Fiona, I will always support you unconditionally. Additionally, Earl, do your best. Earl pursed his lips and smiled. I will. It was already 2 o'clock when Laura arrived at the second floor of Walton's group. After all, she had interned here before, so many people must have known her. Now, how could she get in without being recognized? She paced back and forth on the edge of the lawn. It was a weekend, and most of the staff weren't at work, but there was definitely someone at the front desk. She couldn't exactly say that she came to find William Walton. If she let William Walton off, he definitely wouldn't want to either. She stood at the doorway for 10 minutes before someone called out her name from the side of the road, not far behind her. She turned around and saw Jerry and 2 men that she had never seen before getting off a taxi. Jerry ran over to her and asked somewhat excitedly, It's really you? Jerry, long time no see. Yes, long time no see. After you left the company, I kept asking Director where you went, but she didn't tell me. I called you and always told me that you were on the phone, that you had left the company and didn't plan to contact any of the people in the company anymore. He was blackened because when she first left the company, he always called her. She didn't want to answer. She laughed awkwardly. Who would have thought that she would run into Jerry here? It was her bad luck. My boyfriend always asks me who you are when he sees your number. When I say that you're my former male colleague, he got jealous and blocked your number. Jerry, don't mind me. Jerry laughed indifferently. Your boyfriend is too possessive. He still doesn't allow you to make friends. I think that's good. Does everyone respect each other? Oh yeah, isn't today the weekend? Why did you come to the company? We've been working overtime for 2 weeks now. We've been organizing tutorial programs on new products for the past 2 weeks. Why are you here at this time? Oh, I came to look for Director, she chuckled. I'm hesitating on whether I should go up or not. I'm afraid I'll disturb her. What's there to disturb me about? Let's go. Let's go quickly. Jerry said as he invited her up the stairs. This was an unprecedented embarrassment. After arriving at training department, Laura arrived at the door of Zoe's office and knocked on it. Come in. After she pushing open the door and seeing her, Zoe was also shocked. Laura, why are you here at this time? She smiled awkwardly. Mr. Walton had me deliver lunch to him and coincidentally met Jerry downstairs. I can only say that I have come to find you. So that's how it is, Zoe said. Let's go. I'll cover you as you go upstairs. Zoe brought her out of the office, and the two of them went up to the elevator. Zoe said, It's all thanks to you. All the mice in training department have all left. Now the environment is much better than before. She asked. Manager just left not too long ago, right? It wasn't that long, but he was really miserable when he left. He was investigated by the procurator's office and almost ended up in prison. Later on, it was said that he went bankrupt before he was released on bail. Mr. 2, Walton is generous and tolerant. Otherwise, even if he were to go bankrupt, I'm afraid he won't be able to make it out. She was only listening to the big gossip and didn't express any opinions. Zoe sent her to the floor and went down first. She was speechless. This was the first time she realized how hard it was to give someone a meal. When she walked to the entrance of the office, Daniel saw her and hurriedly got up. Miss Green, you're finally here. Mr. Walton had asked me 4 times in these 15 minutes. Come in, please. She thought to herself, he must be very hungry. She would see what he looked like in a while. Chapter 187. I really made him suffer. When she pushed open the door and entered William Walton's office, William Walton's face was completely black. You and your Earl sure have a lot to talk about. It's been over an hour since I called you, and yet you came over. You really don't care if I'm dead or alive. Are you not afraid of me starving to death? What does this have to do with Earl? After you called me, I ordered a meal for you, and you came out in less than 10 minutes. But when I arrived at the entrance of the company, I meet the employees of training department. Zoe took me here. I think you don't dare to come up, so you deliberately went to training department to seek Zoe for help. She rolled her eyes at him and said, You're smart. Hurry up and come over for your meal. William Walton stood up and walked over. Seeing that the lunchbox was filled with spicy peppers, he raised his eyebrows and looked at her. She pursed her lips and smiled. I remember you saying that you can eat spicy food. In order to make your food taste better, I ordered some chili for you. She even deliberately dragged out the words. This woman was doing it on purpose? William Walton sat down. Then, thank you very much. He followed her example, deliberately dragging out his speech. She sat down beside the sofa and stared at his face, ready to see him go mad from the spiciness. It must be a joke. But unexpectedly, William Walton seemed to be especially resistant. He actually acted as if nothing had happened and ate very comfortably. Seeing this, she couldn't help but frown and ask, What's going on? Aren't these dishes spicy? He said elegantly. Won't you know if you try? The chef in this restaurant probably doesn't know how to put more chilies. She pinched a piece of meat from his bowl and stuffed it into her mouth. She only took a single bite, and instantly she felt the spice rush to her head. She got up and ran out to pour herself a cup of water. To the side, Secretary looked at her in confusion. She returned to his office and said unhappily, It's so spicy. Can't you eat it? Is there something wrong with your sense of taste? I think it's fine. Didn't you say that you can only eat spicy food? William Walton put down his fork and stared at her face. So, you know I can only eat a little spicy, and you intentionally put many chili peppers in there? Her eyes blinked, unable to respond. After all, she had been captured, so she was in the wrong. Laura, you have guts. You even dare to fool me. Didn't you say that being invincible is too lonely? I acted in a humanitarian spirit and didn't want you to be lonely. That's why I added something onto your life. If you don't want to appreciate it, then forget it. She puffed her cheeks, looked away from his face, left and right, but didn't look at him. After all, she felt guilty. William Walton continued to eat. I can eat spicy dishes, but I normally don't. The weather is cool, and it's not going to be that bad. He raised his eyebrows and looked at her proudly. Therefore, next time you want to tease me, think of a good idea. Don't use the air, conditioner, or peppers. Why does this smart girl have to make herself seem like she has no intelligence at all? What? Laura was flabbergasted as she looked at him. How did you know about the air conditioner? As she spoke, she covered her mouth and remained silent. She stared straight at him. Was he a human? How did he know everything? William Walton put down his fork. There's a monitor at every corner of your school, don't you know? She said, It's just a small matter. Why did you send someone to check on the surveillance cameras? William Walton poked her on the forehead. I'm just curious. Why did you leave midway? In the end, I saw your little trick. She looked at him and grinded her teeth. Why is it so hard to tease him? She pursed her lips, a little embarrassed. It wasn't that she was stupid. It was him. He was too smart, all right? William Walton crossed his legs. Why did I think of meeting Earl today? Earl and Fiona split up. William Walton was displeased. He broke up with someone else. Why did he ask you to meet him? It was me who asked him out. Fiona called me and wanted me to help him reconcile, but I didn't help her. She told him about the relationship between Earl and herself. In this kind of situation, it's impossible for me to help her, but I feel that the Earl is worth a better girl. The better girl you're talking about, it can't be you, right? Why do I smell Fiona's scent on you? William Walton raised his eyebrows. From your tone, you really are looking down on me. What? They just broke up, and you want to dump me? William Walton, she said gently, staring at him. You are so bored, I haven't even started with you. If I want to be together with Earl, I don't need to tell you about this. I already told you, my feelings for Earl are not what you think. William Walton smiled. That's for the best. He stood up and said, Let's go, I'll accompany you back. He looked at the time and asked, Are you leaving now? Today is the weekend. But someone is working overtime. They have overtime pay, but I don't have any. Besides, I'm hungry. I don't like junk food. he said, glancing sideways at a spicy food she had bought. She pursed her lips tenderly. Who was the one that he pretended to be like that for? She got up. I'll go downstairs and wait for you in the basement parking lot. After she finished speaking, she ran out like a gust of wind. Seeing her leave in a panic, Daniel, who was at the door, was puzzled. Why did this Miss Green, whom he worshipped so much, run away? William Walton came out after her with a smile on his face. Daniel rubbed his chin. After all, Mr. Walton didn't usually laugh. In the middle of the night, as she was sleeping soundly, she suddenly heard a strange sound coming from the end of the bed. She opened her eyes and looked at William Walton, who was bent at the end of the bed. She casually turned on the light and looked at him. What happened to you? William Walton did not reply. She got out of the quilt and crawled to his side. She looked at him, and before she could open her mouth, she saw that his forehead was covered in sweat. She asked, William Walton, what happened to you? The temperature in the room was just right. There was no reason for him to sweat so much. William Walton looked at her and smiled comfortingly. It's nothing, just that my stomach isn't feeling well. Go down and wake Butler up. Find me a doctor. She ran downstairs and called for Butler in a hurry. By the time the family doctor arrived, it was already 20 minutes later. After he examined William Walton, he asked, Mr. Walton, did you eat anything spicy today? Spicy food? She suddenly thought of that extremely spicy food. Chapter 188. His wife is bullied. William Walton didn't say anything. Instead, Laura said, he ate some really spicy food this afternoon. Butler was surprised. Mr. Walton, you can't eat. All right, it's no big deal, he interrupted the butler and looked at the doctor. Let's see how you're going to treat his. Mr. Walton, let me give you some fluids to alleviate the pain. Sure. A burst of guilt filled her heart as she sat to the side. She only wanted to make a prank on him, but she didn't expect it to turn out like this. She was the one who harmed him. After pouring the liquid, William Walton looked at the guilty expression on her face. He said to the rest of them, all of you can leave first. It's enough to have Laura accompany me. The group went out, looking at him silently, because she was truly sad. William Walton said calmly, do you dare to do it again? She shook her head. I really didn't expect that you would become like this just because of eating that food. I promise that I won't prank anymore in the future. William Walton raised his hand and gently poked between his brows. Enough, no one is blaming you. Don't be upset, you didn't force me to eat it. I was the one who had to act cool. She raised her hand and patted him on the shoulder. You're so annoying. You know you can't eat spicy food, but why are you still so patient and trying to be brave in front of me? Is there any meaning to that? It's quite interesting, he said with a mischievous smile. You're so annoying. Don't laugh. She was extremely upset. She had never wanted to hurt anyone in her life. She had never imagined that she would actually hurt the person who was the best to her in this world under such circumstances. All right, I won't laugh anymore. Don't be angry. I'm fine. William Walton said as he held her hand tightly. Don't worry, She bit her lips and looked at William Walton. After a moment, she sighed. Then are you still in great pain? It will hurt, but it will be within tolerable limits. He pulled her into his arms. She was afraid that the pressure would make him feel bad, but just as she was about to get up, William Walton did not let go. She no longer struggled as she accompanied him and chatted with him. The alarm clock sounded the next day, and Laura abruptly woke up from her dream. She looked at the peaceful William Walton, who was sleeping by her side. Her fingers touched the underside of his nose. His breath was steady. Just as she was about to retract her hand, William Walton, who had his eyes closed, grabbed her hand. I am alive. Don't worry. She didn't worry that he would die, okay? How are you? Are you feeling better? William Walton opened his eyes. I didn't feel sick last night. Otherwise, how would I sleep? He sat up. Did you sleep well? If you didn't sleep well, I can help you ask for leave of absence. No need. I have to go to work. I have something to do today, William Walton said. I had wanted to ask you to stay on bed with me at first, so let's go downstairs to eat. He got out of bed, washed his face, and ate as if nothing had happened. She was a little worried. He couldn't be faking it, right? After eating, the family doctor came to check on William Walton again. After confirming that he was really all right, she went back to the school with a relieved heart. However, after not coming to school for 2 days, she did not know that a big news had appeared in the school in the past 2 days. Everyone knew that Amy took the initiative to pursue William Walton, but she was fiercely rejected. This weekend, as the school bell, Amy was ridiculed by others, and the one who caused this matter to be exposed was actually her, the person who received the news last. Inside the office, she sat at her desk and watched the discussion posts on the forums. She felt like she didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Even if it was baseless, there should at least be evidence. However, just because of an analytical comment derived from their own consciousness, they collectively believed that it was true. The comment said, although the 4 instructors in the business management department are suspected, the Laura is the most suspicious. Because she was the previous school belle, as the school belle himself, she definitely could understand Amy's feelings at that time. Beautiful girls were attractive. When that Laura saw Mr. Walton, she would definitely have the impulse to take Mr. Walton down as well. That's why when she saw Amy confessing to him, he felt jealous and exposed Amy's matter in internet. She wanted to ruin Amy's reputation. There were hundreds of people lining up to express their approval. Some people commented, Laura looks harmless to humans, but she is actually very scheming. Otherwise, why did he choose the former principal's son instead of finding so many people pursuing her? From the way she chose her boyfriend, I can tell how ambitious she is. Mia quietly made her a cup of coffee and placed it on her table, then patted her shoulder. Don't think too much into it. They are only blindly commenting on this matter. Don't people like following others' opinion? She shook her head and smiled. I admire the analysis ability of the first person who doubted me and the strong ability to lead the comment. Does everyone nowadays feel that they don't need to pay the price for speaking carelessly? Sabrina said, Laura, you do not need to think too much about it. It is not that big of a deal. After a period of time, this matter will naturally settle down. She pursed her lips. The price for calming down was that from now on she would have to bear the burden of harming others. But why? If it wasn't me, then it wasn't me. Others may suspect, but this person is trying to use public opinion to lead the public to suspect and attack me. This is something I can't tolerate. Mia said, Do you have any ideas? This is the school website. It's not that hard to find the first poster as long as I'm willing. Sabrina said, These days they wrote the comments anonymously. I can check the IP. Gary also said, Then it will definitely be very troublesome. I feel that it would be better for the four of us to help you. After all, the four of us were indeed present at that time. Mia nodded her head. I will send a message with my real name first. Me too. I'll do it too. Gary and Sabrina also sat down and began to write their names on the forum. She sat in front of the computer without moving. For the first time, she felt that when people were down on their luck, drinking cold water could cause them to grit their teeth. This was true. She had just spent a good weekend. Why someone assaulted and attacked her? At the same time, in the middle of a meeting in Walton's group's conference room, William Walton's phone rang. Seeing that it was a call from Benjamin, he hung up the phone. Then, Benjamin sent a text message. He listened to the reports and read them. Your wife, Laura, was bullied at school. William Walton stood up and immediately left the conference room. Everyone in the meeting room looked at each other. No one dared to say anything. William Walton returned to his office and dialed Benjamin's number. With a displeased tone, he said, What's going on? Chapter 189, She is Innocent. In the afternoon, Laura went to eat lunch with Mia. The two of them left the office building and met people on the way. Everyone was whispering behind her back. Mia looked at her. How about we not go to the cafeteria? Let's go back. How about we order some takeout? She pursed her lips gently. Mia, I'm fine. I didn't make any mistakes. But isn't that annoying? I feel like I'm being watched by a fly. She was calm. It's all right. Go eat. If I hide, others would think I'm guilty. Seeing that she was insisting, Mia did not say anything else. The restaurant had originally been bustling with activity, but after the appearance of Laura, many teachers couldn't help but turn their gazes over and size them up. It was said that good things never go out, while bad things spread far and wide. These words were true. She calmly chewed up and got her lunch. Just as she sat down to eat 2 mouthfuls of food, the English department's counselor Ethan walked over. He stood at the table and looked at her with a serious expression as he asked, Laura, I am Ethan. Can I talk to you about Amy? You must be Amy's counselor. She looked at him with a calm expression. That's right. She nodded. All right, please take a seat. Ethan sat across her. Today, I saw your faculty's counselor group on the forums clarifying the matter regarding Amy. The other 3 teachers all stood forward to help you prove that this matter is unrelated to you. Do you have any evidence? Ethan's voice was not soft as well. It seemed that he had the intention to seek justice for his own student. Why did she have to endure if he wanted to vent his anger on behalf of his student? She put down her fork, and with determination in her eyes, she said, Then, may I ask you why I should use evidence to prove that I have not done anything before? Everyone in the forum said that I was the one who did this, so where's their proof? What reason do I have to carry this slander for no reason at all? I asked Amy, she said. When she confessed, she was only present with the 4 of you instructors, and this matter was closely related to the 4 of you. Even if it was not you, it was someone else. Mia was unhappy. She slapped the table. Ethan, now the police want evidence too? What right do you have to wrongly accuse us? If you want to convict us, then please show us the evidence. Mia's voice was very loud. Ethan was also no longer afraid. Is there a need for you all to be like this? At that time, only the few of you were present. If you hadn't told anyone, no one would have known about this. Amy was still young, but she had just started to have feelings for someone. She liked and confessed to him. What's wrong with that? Now do you know how much pain she has to endure, just because you made fun of her bravery and made her the laughingstock of the whole school? She doesn't even dare to come out of her dorm right now. Do you know how pitiful she is? Then have you ever thought about why we would have to take the blame for her confessing to someone else, because it's her business and has nothing to do with us? This morning, when I came to the school, I found out that there was someone on the forum who had insulted me for no reason. I was also very innocent. Do you think that I am unjustly accused of dining here and facing the looks and discussions of so many people? Ethan, let me put it this way for you. I won't do anything to go against a student. I am not the one who did this. If you insist on saying that I was the one who did it, just like Mia said, please take out the evidence. Otherwise, please disappear from my sight. Ethan used his noble and righteous stand to seek justice for his student. Now that he had failed to obtain justice, he was instead targeted by these terracotta soldiers. He was truly unreconciled in his heart. The three of them stood on both sides of the table, their eyes full of anger. Her phone rang. She let out a breath, bent over, took out the phone from her bag and picked it up. On the other end of the phone, Benjamin's voice came out. Laura, where are you? What's wrong? Can I call you if I'm fine? Sure, but we'll have to wait for a while. I still have some matters to attend to right now. Then call me when you're done with your work. Oh yeah, you need to prepare me a gift. She frowned. What kind of good thing have you done? Of course, I found the person who betrayed you in the forums. Do you think you should thank me? The corner of her mouth pulled out a trace of a smile. Are you sure you found it? Of course, if you're worried about what I do, but you can trust William, right? Have you told him about this yet? I already said, can I still watch as Laura is bullied? She looked warmly at Ethan and said to him, That's great. Now bring the thing you found and come over to the canteen. I'll wait for you there. Now? Okay, you can treat me to a meal. All right. After hanging up, she threw the phone back into her bag. She looked at Ethan coldly with determination. Being stared at by her, Ethan felt a bit of fear in his heart. She said, If you can prove that I was the one who did it, then I can apologize in front of all the teachers and students. However, if I am able to prove my innocence, I would like to ask you, Ethan, to bow to me and apologize. Ethan raised his eyebrows. All right, when the time comes, Laura will not be able to quibble and not acknowledge his words. After all, there are so many people here as witnesses. Don't worry, I will keep my promise. Ethan was about to leave, and she said, Ethan, please wait, I want to show you my proof. Mia turned her head and looked at her. Laura, you... She looked at her and pursed her lips into a smile. Mia, let's all wait and see. I'm also very curious. Just who did this? Not a single teacher in the cafeteria left during this time. Presumably, everyone was also waiting to join in the fun and see the results. In less than 10 minutes, Benjamin arrived. At the door, he saw Laura. The atmosphere in the restaurant was somewhat strange. However, he didn't think too much about it and walked straight towards her. Laura, I'm here. She stood up. Can you really prove that the thread on the forum has nothing to do with me? That's right, I've already told you. I've found the evidence. Where's the evidence? Benjamin said. I got someone to track the poster's IP and also use this IP address to find the internet cafe where the poster was posted. Finally, I found this person through the internet cafe's monitoring system. Moreover, this poster is the same person who made the first comment on this matter in the forums afterwards. As he spoke, he took out his cell phone and opened up a video. She gently took the phone, and when she looked down, Mia and Ethan had also come over. Seeing the person in the video, Mia covered her mouth in shock. Chapter 190. It's him. Her expression didn't look any better either. She had thought that this matter had something to do with the people in her office. However, when she saw this scene, she was still unable to accept it. Ethan stared at the screen. Isn't this Gary from your office? Laura and Mia looked at each other. After a long while, she asked, Benjamin, is it possible that you made a mistake? Perhaps this is just a coincidence. It just so happens that Gary went to the internet cafe that day. If posting is a coincidence, what about the comments? It can't be a coincidence both times, can it? Look, there's a video at the back. That comment isn't emitted from the same internet cafe. These two internet cafes are very far from the school, but they are very close to where Gary lives. Ethan frowned. This Gary, for him to do such a malicious thing to a mere little girl, is truly vicious. Mia said in displeasure. You haven't figured out anything, and have come here without any proof to criticize her. How can you be any better than others? Hearing Mia say it like that, Benjamin looked at him in displeasure. You are bullying Laura? Ethan said guiltily. I'm just here to verify the situation. Mia snorted. Your attitude is so bad. You gave the Laura a conviction without any evidence. You call it verify? Benjamin hugged his chest and said coldly, This matter was not done by Laura. Even if it was done by Laura, so what? It's the truth she confessed to a man and she still forcefully chased after him after being refused. Can it be that telling the truth is also wrong? Mia nodded her head. That's right, Ethan. You promised. If Laura has any evidence, you can apologize. Ethan frowned. He could not bring down his pride. In the end, this was done by someone from your office. Hearing him say that, the tenderness in her voice faded into sadness, and she said coldly, The people in my office cannot represent me. Gary is the Gary. I am me, Ethan. A man can't go back on his word. Please keep your promise, and apologize to me. Ethan sighed deeply and said impatiently, I'm sorry. She laughed. I just said it before. Please bow to me and apologize. The reason I asked you to bow is because I hope that you will take this matter seriously. In the future, do not falsely accuse people without evidence, no matter what. Benjamin hugged his chest and curled his lips. Teacher Ethan, Are you even a man? You sure are capable of wrongly accusing people. Now it's time for you to admit your own mistake. Ethan clenched his teeth, walked to the front of her, and earnestly bowed. Laura, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have wronged you just because I didn't figure out the truth of the matter. It's all right. After she said that, she pulled Mia with one hand and her arm with the other, and left the employee cafeteria. When the truth of the matter was revealed, the voices of discussion all shifted to Gary. After exiting the restaurant, she said to Benjamin, I'll treat you to dinner another day. I need to go back to my office at noon today. Benjamin knew that she was angry, and wanted to go back to vent her anger. All right, then I want to have a feast some other day. Got it, she patted his shoulder. Thanks for today. Benjamin whispered into her ear, the person you should be thanking isn't me, but William. The moment he heard that you were bullied, he immediately exploded and left from the meeting. He immediately finds someone to help you wash away your grievances. It was not the first time that she was holding up William Walton's work. There was guilt, but at the same time she was glad, because William Walton would always help her with her problem when she needed it. When she followed Mia back to the office, there was only Gary eating takeout food. Seeing the two return, he smiled and asked, Have the two of you eaten yet? The turkey noodle soup that I ordered today is very tasty. Would you like me to order it for both of you? Mia said with a cold face, No need, we don't dare to eat the noodles that you ordered. Mia, why do you have such a weird tone? That's right, my tone is very strange, but at least I'm acting weird in front of you. It's better than someone stabbing someone in the back with a knife. Hearing Mia's words, Gary's face also carried a trace of displeasure. What do you mean by that? Laura walked in front of Mia, blocked her, and looked at him. The meaning is very simple. We can't afford to offend a villain like you. Gary stood up. Laura, what do you mean? What right do you have to call me a despicable person? Just based on the fact that I already know that Amy's thread was sent by you, and the comment that guided others to insult me was made by you. You pretended to be worried about me and even said that you were helping me clarify things in the forum using your real name. I didn't expect that your conscience would be so dark. Gary's originally fierce gaze shifted a little. I don't even know what you're talking about. Mia said disdainfully. If you don't know what we're talking about, what are you afraid of? I'm not afraid of anything. Gary, I have followed as your colleague for so long. I understand you better than the Laura. If you did not have a guilty conscience, how could you allow others to insult you? But it's not up to you to deny it now. Would we say that if we didn't already have the conclusive evidence? Just as Mia finished speaking, Sabrina pushed open the door and shouted, Big new. Before she could finish her sentence, she had already shut her mouth. In the office, the smell of gunpowder was very strong. Mia hugged her chest. Sabrina, there's no need to speak of your big news. We already know about it. Sabrina looked at Gary and asked after hesitating for a moment. Gary, is that really you? You shut up, that's none of your business, Gary said as he walked towards the door of the office. Laura quickly stepped forward, blocking his way. Gary, why did you treat me like this? I didn't hurt you before. Gary's eyes were sharp. I just don't like you, can I? Look at you ever since you graduated and became an instructor. We've so much trouble because of you. Because of you, Avery came to work at school and set up some system to deduct points, letting us live in panic. The principal disliked you, but you are in the crowd and occupy everyone's attention. After the new principal takes office, all the good things will always come to you. Why? Is it just because you look good? Just because you're the most beautiful girl in the school? I really don't feel convinced. We work hard, but we get suppressed by your beauty. What qualifications do you have to act arrogantly in front of us? People like you don't even have the qualifications to stay in school. You should go.